Hello, it's Jake. Today I thought I'd do a bit of work on the Reval 1200 Titanic. If you didn't see the unboxing, you wouldn't have seen me saying it's not going to be Titanic. I've actually bought this model for a diorama that I'm doing of the wreck of the Britannic. Now there's slight differences in the ship that won't be between Titanic and Britannic, and even in the wreck still, but you can't, well, I couldn't find a same scale Britannic, so I'm gonna have to make do with this one. So I got the hull here, one piece, which is nice. We're gonna start with the manual. Let me just grab the manual out. I mentioned in the unboxing I've had several of these over the years. 2 or 3, I think it was 2, I can't remember. One of them come from the Bristol model shop, which is no longer there, and the other come from, I think the other come from eBay. So first thing I got to do is fit the deck, which is a problem because if anyone knows the wreck of the Britannic, the bow section here got a massive hole in where it hit the sea mine, and then when it sunk, the front end dug into the floor and it broke it off, and then the wreck just, you know, sunk. So I got to somehow break that off. Now before I do that, I do have to make sure where the cut is, but we can do a bit of work before we do that. Like I got to put the stern section on, there's the bow section, and then we got the main, you know, the base, the middle of the ship. Get me trusty snips out. So we're going to put the stern in. We'll go from there. This is going to be a nice little diorama. Nothing too big. I got some wood here that needs cut into the shape, which we'll see that. I'll just get rid of some of the off-cut mess. Make sure it fits in nicely. There we go. And that, on the bottom you got little holes where it should just slot in place without even gluing it, like that. There we go. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. So that's good. This camera is great. It's about time I had a decent camera. I stopped messing around with SLR cameras and that, and just the glue I'm using is the Tamiya extra thin cement. I've used this all along for my models that I've done. I find it works the best for me. I do use the I think it's the Umbro one, or the, what's the other I use? I can't remember the name now. But I haven't used that for a while. Just put a bit of glue in the holes. There we go. And the great thing with this glue is the cement, it does stick pretty fast. There is nice deck detail on here as well, which is nice. Just put a bit of glue around that. I would like to do a bigger scale model of the wreck, however it's having a place to put the dioramas. I will think about it. We'll see how this one goes, and if this one works out nicely, I might look at doing a bigger scale. Again, I don't really think you can get too many models of the Britannic, so I might have to make do with Titanic. But the bigger you go, that's when you need to start getting it what the ship really looks like. For instance, down the stern section here where there's a cutaway on the Britannic, that was all flush, and then they had windows here, and also the lifeboats on the deck. There was proper arms, because after the Titanic they decided to put more lifeboats on the ship. It still didn't help. The ship sunk way too fast for it to even matter. So that's a shame. And because the ship was sinking fast, the captain tried beaching it, and that meant he had the engines on full power. So as the back end was coming up, lifeboats were just getting sucked into the propellers. Must have been terrible scenes. I mean, Titanic was bad, but having lifeboats sucked into the propellers as the ship's sinking, wow. Right, we do have to put the bow section in now, so we'll have a look at that. But I will stop the camera, and I just got to make sure with some photos I have on my phone. I was on my phone a couple of hours ago after doing the unboxing of this, just to make sure really. So I'm just using a scalpel just to clean the parts up. I'll use sandpaper usually, but parts of that small, so I'm just, you know, getting rid of the excess plastic after cutting it from the sprues. Simple enough. And that's got to go in like that, but like I said, I got to make sure where the cut is. Now to do the cut, I haven't decided yet, but I'll probably use a Dremel to cut the front. And that fits in like that. There we go, that that fits in quite nicely without any glue, which is nice. So yeah, I'm going to have a look at the front end, the bow section on the pictures, just to see where the cut is. Okay, so just gone online, gone straight on Google to see the wreck of the Britannic, and yeah, I mean, looking at it, I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera, but the crack is right on the bow section there, just level with one of the cranes, so that's a good place to start looking at. So I'm going to keep it to one side just so I know what I'm looking at. So the ship is led on its side like that, and the crack is right down here. So to mark that, I'm going to get a scalpel, and I'm just going to put a little line down. There we go. It's not come out that well, but there we go. So what I need to do is cut it now, as well as with this deck in place, which is going to be a little bit difficult. Well, so one of the joiners, I don't know how it's going to show up there. There we go. See it across there. One of like the struts to keep it all strong. The plastic. That I'm going to cut in this area in front of it. So that'd be kind of an off point. That should look fine. As for the metal, making it look like the iron and everything is all out of place, I would put little cuts in it and everything. But I'm going to have a look at cutting that now. I'll see what tools I got up here before I get the Dremel out, just to see. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've had a look at it. How I'm going to cut it. I did think about doing a junior axle, and then my new snips are pretty good, and I thought, I know it's not the best way to do this, but I just cut them now. The cut doesn't have to be perfect, because it's all going to be cut up after anyway with little some of my little what you call files. So what I've done is just snipped both sides, and it should say should just pop off. I will just using my blade just to make the cut a little bit better, but there we go. Ta-da! Looks odd, doesn't it? But yeah, so there we go. We've cut the front end off, and then on the wreck, let's see if I can get this right so you can see it all alongside. Yeah, you know, that's worked out pretty nicely. Where's the picture again? Let me just get the picture on my phone. Yeah, so the front end's like that. I don't know if you can see it that well, but yeah, so that's good. That's cut off nicely, and like I said, right in front of the one of the supports inside. So that means now I can put the front end in place, and then we'll have to do the same with the front end. I keep saying front end, I'm sorry, bow. Yeah, I can see all of you, you know, boat enthusiasts now screaming at the computer. It's not a front end, it's a bow. The only one I get stuck with is starboard and port. I know my bow and stern. So yeah, there we go. So I got to do the same cut across that now. It's going to be interesting. Probably fling off or something. If I put some cuts across like this, I haven't cut it equal either side neither, so there's more on the one side than there's the other, because I can't really see the other side. So let's see. And most of it's going to be buried. It's not going to be buried too much in the sand because the wreck's not buried. One of the things I am going to struggle with, I think, is doing... I want to bend it, but I don't want to bend it too much. There we go. I do. I do. Let's just... There we go. So let's stick that one in place. Get my glue again. If you want to see more videos like this, please let me know, because I didn't plan to do building videos on this channel, just because of, you know, all the work that goes into it. But if you guys want to see it, then I will do it, especially with some of the dioramas, because I do like doing dioramas. When I do my model railways now, I've always done little scenes, and a diorama is like a little scene. So now that should go on there. Right. It's got to be a fun one to do. Why do I put the lid on tight? There we go. That's it. Stick that in place. See, I like this glue because it's got like a little brush on the end, and it allows you to stick stuff a lot better, I find anyway. Right, I'm not naming the parts as I go along. I'm looking at the manual, but you know. But if you're a beginner to kits and you like boats, do this one. It's small, but it'll give you a basic idea how most kits go together. It's a good beginner's kit. It's the first kit I ever had years ago, so in fact one of the only kits I ever had. I didn't have many plastic kits growing up because I couldn't do one, to be honest. I was more interested in buying train stuff and everything for my model railway. I've been doing model railways a long time now. I'm putting a little bit too much on in places, but that's okay. That's it. Seems to be stuck on pretty well. There we go. It looks really odd with the front end missing, I know. There's a bit of plastic sticking out. I might just trim that back. There we go. Right, what's next? What is next? Put the main deck on and the bridge. I think the bridge goes on after. There we go. Right, so what's next? This piece, right. But yep, this should make a nice little diorama when done. I do plan to do the Titanic wreck as well, don't worry. Not all about Britannic. That's not a great fit, is it? As for the Titanic wreck, I'm not too sure which one to use because I have a couple of kits lying about of that and I've never built. I will probably primer this ship before painting it. Well, I primer all my stuff anyway, but I was just going to spray it, but yeah, I'll probably primer it. Right, let the glue dry. It's a great thing about this glue, like I said earlier, it sticks really fast. I'm not too worried about too much glue being on the model because, like I said, it's a wreck, so it's going to be heavily weathered and that. We haven't put the propellers on the back yet, does that? Oh, that's not yet, that's why. That's okay then. I didn't see propellers. Yes, there they are. As fast drying as this is, it's not really fast drying now, is it? There we go. I got a nice warm fan down here and that does help the glue a little bit. That's what you can hear in the background running, because the shed in the summer you don't need it, but it is the winter after all. A bit more of that. It hasn't stuck that great and I want to get it all flush. It's got to be perfect. It hasn't got to be perfect because it's going to be a wreck. If it had to be perfect, I want to cut the front end off. Hopefully that'll stick now. What I'm going to do is stick some tape around it. Now I wouldn't recommend this if you're not having this as a shipwreck. I need to hold it down at the same time. But because this is going to be a shipwreck, it doesn't matter if I get tape marks on it. But it's just to hold it down, or so I can work on other parts. See? There we go. Get down here, on here. That's great. When painting them, now like I said, I'm not painting this one, I'm primering it, but it's going to be weathered. But I will be doing, if you want to see how to paint these models, I will be doing the Mauritania, which I've just done an unboxing of. So if you want to see how to paint these models, keep an eye out for that video. I will build it, show you like a part of it finished, and then we'll go on to painting, because that's going to be my first time painting one of these ships. So I thought it'd be good. Right, let's get the front of the bridge on. A small part, as you can see. Make sure it's all... Always make sure it fits before you glue. What I'm going to do is actually cut the things off. Sometimes you have to do this. Sometimes you have to, you know. And as long as you've got really good glue, it should stick very nicely. It should just go in place and then I'll just glue it. There we go. It's not the best fit in the world, I've got to say. Put some glue down that, and then we'll hopefully it'll stick in place. But no, it's not the greatest fit in the world. As for the lookout parts on the side, they will need gluing as well. Because they're exactly level. However, I'm just going to glue the top of it to the deck. That's probably the worst fit in this kit so far, is the actual bridge of the ship. There we go. So I will be doing step by step to this wreck of the Britannic / Titanic, because it's a Titanic model. So yeah, that should be pretty good. I stuck my finger to it. There we go. I still haven't decided I'm going to do like the coral effects on the side of it and that, the ruster cores, but we'll get to that. So this is the next part we're putting on, which is like the gymnasium and that. I'm not too sure if well, would it have been a gym on the Britannic, because it was an hospital ship. They might have used it for something else. It would have been absolutely amazing to see these ships go by your local coast, like in the distance. Wow, I would have loved to have seen it. Now we're going to go back on the lifeboats and that, because there's no lifeboats left on the ship, to be honest, but I will do my research. There we go. And that fits in place quite nicely actually. And then you can just seal that across there and down there. So there is the bridge. I don't know how well you can see that on camera. Because it's all white plastic, it's going to be quite hard to see, I think, on camera at the moment. That back end part's not stuck down perfect. I think we'll have to leave that for now. So yeah, there we go. That's not finished because still got to put the chimneys on, but I'm not doing that. In fact, let's have a quick look at the wreck. Was the cranes in place? So yeah, I can put one of the cranes on. I'm going to leave the mast as well until the wreck is put in place on the diorama. So we need one of the cranes. There's a few of them on here. There's 8 altogether. We need one. I can't see the other crane, so I will have a look at some more photos off camera, ready for part 2. Part 2 we'll be looking at the piece of wood is going on, which I got here anyway, but I probably won't be filming today. Now the crane goes on the front here, so what I'm going to do is put the glue in place, and then we'll just slot it in like so. There we go. The cranes seem a little bit out of scale, don't you think? Again, I don't think you're going to see it because of the all white. Cranes on the back, again, you can't really see from the photos I've got. There are better photos, I have to agree there. I haven't really got all of them. But I'm guessing some of the cranes would be on the back. These cranes were actually quite strong, and they're still on the Titanic wreck, especially on the stern section. If anyone knows sim pictures of the Titanic wreck, the stern section is a mess, and there's 1 or 2 cranes still on there, so they are quite strong. We will put the propeller parts on, the shafts or whatever you want to call them. They want a stand part, won't they? We'll put them on, and that'll be the end of this video. Because there's not really much more we can do. I'd love to go and see the wreck of Britannic and Titanic. Titanic would be a little bit harder because of the oxygen and the pressure as you're going down. My health's not great, so I don't think that's possible, but Britannic maybe. So they just slot in nicely there. Now you could put the glue on. That is right, isn't it? Yeah, that is right. So you could put the glue on here and slot it in. I'm just going to use this glue and go across like that. Because again, I'm not too worried about getting too much glue on the model because of the wreck. I'm being a bit careless with the glue today, to be honest, but it doesn't matter because it's a shipwreck. Also, I'm doing a large scale Italian cruiser wreck as well. That's going to turn out quite nice. There we go. This blue is nice. Dog barking. So there we have it. That is as much as I can get done today. I will have a look at the other crane. I might stick it before I do the next video, but in part 2 we'll be having a look at the piece of board this wreck is going on, so that should be quite nice. But we've cut the front end off. It's a complete cut off. I was a bit concerned how I was going to do that, and it worked out quite well, so that's great. So thank you for watching. I shall see you all soon, and yeah, look forward to doing part 2. Bye for now.